Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Anna if you're new here. Today I thought I would just film a little video discussing my honest University of Liverpool experience. I feel like this is a good video to do right now, as there might be a few of you who are applying or have applied to university and you haven't been able to go and see the campus or the city because of all the lockdowns. So I just thought that I would make this video to hopefully answer any questions that you might have and just share my experience with you. Also, you might just be watching because you're intrigued about my experience. Whatever reason that you're here, I hope you do enjoy. This video might be really long, so because of that I'm going to put the timestamps down below. So if there's just one answer that you want to hear or just one specific area that you want to hear about, then you can skip to it at any point. You don't have to listen to me ramble on. So a little bit about me. I am a final year marketing student. I didn't do a gap year before uni. I just went straight from college to university. So I was 18 when I started at uni. I'm not saying that what I've experienced is what you're going to experience, but I just wanted to make this to help you out and hopefully it'll be useful to some of you watching. So I went to a few different open days and Liverpool was the first place I went to. I remember that when I was going I really didn't want to like it because it was so close to home, and all the way in the car I was like, no, this isn't where I'm going to go, like it's so close. I had in my head at 17 for some reason that the university experience was to go miles and miles away from home, and I don't really know why that was, but that's what I kind of thought that uni was about. So the idea of staying so close to home to me was like, no, that wasn't going to happen. But when I got there I actually really loved it. I remember just like falling in love with the campus and just deciding that like I did want to go to uni and that it really was for me. I mainly chose the uni because I liked the idea that it was a city university but it was all on a campus. Like I know a lot of city universities have buildings just like scattered everywhere, whereas Liverpool is like a physical campus with like all the accommodation and lecture buildings, the guild, it's all together, but it's like a 10-minute walk from the city centre, which is so nice, and I think that's quite a rare thing. There were other universities that I liked for other reasons, but after going back to Liverpool on applicant days it was just clear to me that Liverpool was where I wanted to be. And I remember being in like a little talk with my course and just like turning and looking at my dad, and he was just kind of nodding along, and he looked at me and he was like, you like it here, don't you? And I just looked at him and was like, yeah, this is where I'm gonna go, and it's where I go. I love Liverpool City. It is one of my favourite UK cities. In fact, it is my favourite UK city. I love it, it's so varied. There's something for everyone in Liverpool, which I think is what makes it such a good student city. You have the city centre where all the shops are. Well, most of them were there when I last went, but how many are still left, I don't know. There's Bowl Street, which has loads of independent coffee shops and restaurants and like vintage bougie shops that I love. They're so artsy and cute and just a really nice place to go. As a student it will become your favourite street. I really recommend Crust, Leaf and Bowl Street Coffee as three places to visit. They're my favourite places. There's also the docks, which are just really pretty to walk around. There's loads of restaurants there as well. There's quite a few museums, so if that's something that you're interested in, there's the Tate Museum, there's a Maritime Museum, and there's also the Beatles Story Museum. So there's a lot of cultural things down there which are really nice and like iconically Liverpool. Liverpool is just such a good, well-rounded city. Like I honestly think it's a city where anyone could be happy no matter what you're interested in, which is why I think it makes such a good student city. So in terms of accommodation, there are two options for first year students. You can either be on campus or off campus. So on campus accommodation there is Crown Place, Vine Court, Melville Grove, Philharmonic Court, and I think that's it for on campus for first years. And then there's Tudor Close and Dover Court for study abroad students and second and third year students. And then off campus there is Greenbank Student Village. There's also lots of private accommodation too, scattered around the city, but the ones that I mentioned are the only ones that are like part of the actual university halls. In my first year I lived in Crown Place, which is so nice. I had a single bed ensuite room and it was really big and spacious. I had loads of storage space, I had my own bathroom, and it was just so nice. It was such a novelty to have in first year, I really miss it. There was a big modern kitchen with a TV and two sofas, and it got cleaned like 2 or 3 times a week, which was insane. It was so nice in there. I was in a flat with 4 other people. They were all super lovely. My flatmates didn't become like my best friends in first year, but I still had a super lovely time in halls, and I think that's really important, that actually your flatmates don't have to be your best friends. Like you will meet other people, and actually it's just nice to have different people to come back to and share about your day rather than being on top of each other, and I really liked that, and I was really happy with my time in Crown. Then in the second year I did a study abroad semester, which I'll talk a bit more about later, but when I came back I decided to stay in the international accommodation because you can stay there for just one semester, which is really handy. So then I stayed in Melville Grove, which is actually such a nice accommodation. I lived there with 5 international students and 1 English student, and it was so nice. It was such a good way to meet loads of different people, and I really enjoyed my time there. Actually, every single year I've lived with different people, and I really recommend doing that. Honestly, living with strangers is so fine, and it's how I've met most of my friends at uni. Melville is set out like little townhouses. They house from about 5 to 7 people, and it is definitely my favourite uni accommodation. Like, it's the cheapest, but don't be fooled, it's still just as nice as the rest. In there I had a really similar room to the one in Crown. It was slightly smaller and I didn't have an ensuite, but I did have like a sink area, and I think I had more storage space in Melville than I did in Crown, so that was a plus. You lose the bathroom but you get more storage space, so you know, kind of a way up. But I think if the bathroom situation is something that you're worried about, don't be. I've shared a bathroom for 2 years and I've never had an issue. In Melville you usually share either 2 or 3 bathrooms between 5 or 7 of you. In my house we had 2 shared bathrooms between 7 of us, and it was absolutely fine, and they get clean like 3 or 4 times a week, which is amazing, so no troubles there. Going into second and third year, finding accommodation can be quite hard because you're doing it on your own and you're trying to find people to live with. But my biggest advice would be, don't sign a contract in the first few weeks of uni, because the people who you decide to live with in the first term might not be the people who you want to live with going into second year. So just take your time about it. I don't know anyone who's ended up homeless. It will be fine. You might also decide to do a study abroad semester, so therefore you don't want to decide to go and do that and have a room signed for the entire year and be stuck with it and be paying double. So the best advice is just to see what you decide you want to do and just give it some time and then sign when you feel comfortable, but don't be pressured into it. In Liverpool there are 2 main areas that students go to live. There's Kensington, which is a bit nearer to the city centre. It's about a 5-minute walk from campus, but it's just set behind campus. And there is Smithdown, which is about a 10-minute bus ride from campus. Some people do choose to stay in the city centre. I don't personally know many people who have done that, just because it is more expensive and you don't get the student grubby house experience, and why would you want to miss out on that? I live in Smithdown this year. It is known to be quite a rough area. I don't really know anyone who's got into any serious trouble, but some people do get burgled, so that it can be a bit of a problem. But I do think that's pretty common with any student areas. But we do have a big Asda and an Aldi nearby. There's 2 pubs on Smithdown. There's the Willow Bank and there's the Brook House, known as the Brookie. This is a student favourite. I don't really know why, but we just all flock there. And on Thursday you can get £1 pints, which is a win when you're living on a student budget. There's also quite a few independent coffee shops down on Smithdown, which I haven't really had much chance to explore yet, but once they do open up I'm definitely going to go and try a few, and I will feed back when that may ever happen. By Smithdown there's also Sefton Park, which is really nice if you just want to escape the city and see some green spaces. I personally miss open spaces so much when I'm at uni because I am a country girl at heart, so just being able to escape to a park is so nice. And next to there is a little street called Lark Lane. This is kind of a more upmarket, bold street. It's got so many nice bars and cafes, and it's somewhere I definitely recommend taking your parents if they come and visit you. So my number 1 tip for Freshers Week is don't buy a wristband. Everybody gets swept into this like, frantic, I need to find people to spend Freshers Week with and I need to be sorted before I get to uni. My biggest advice is just wait until you get in touch with your flatmates or you actually get there, because there's no point buying a wristband if no one else that you're in a flat with has one, because they're the people you're going to spend Freshers Week with and you don't want to waste any money. In Freshers Week my course had introductory lectures and campus tours. These are completely optional and up to you if you go to, but I really recommend going to them. This is actually where I met some of my now best course friends on these days. Throwback. I'm not saying in any way that if you don't go to these you're not going to have any friends, but it definitely is a good way to meet people and break that little freshers fear that you get. Like, the worst thing you can do as a fresher is just spend your days in your room. If these are offered, go to them. It gets you out of your room and you can meet those people, even if they're not your best friends. It's a good way to at least be familiar with some people in your course. And Freshers Week is the best time to meet people because everyone is in the same boat. Everybody is just looking for someone to be friends with. I'd also say definitely go to the Freshers Fair and the sports club fairs. This is where you can get loads of information about the societies that are at the university and get heaps of freebies. And when you're a student, the word freebie is the best thing you can hear. So Liverpool has loads of sport clubs and societies that you can join. If you go onto the Guild website, you can scroll through the list and have a quick look at them before you join, just to get an idea of anything that you might want to do. Societies and sports clubs are, in my opinion, the best way to meet like-minded people or try something new that you haven't done before or you haven't done since school. I joined the Mountaineering Society because I wanted to get into climbing. Okay, I'm still not the best climber, but I've met so many friends through that and they have become one of my really close friendship groups, and I just go on loads of socials with them. We have AU nights, which are athletic union nights held by the AU, and we just all get dressed up and go out clubbing, and it's an amazing night. I really love those nights. And then we also have pub nights and other socials that we do, which is just parties or quizzes and all that kind of fun stuff. So I really recommend joining a sports club. Even if it's not something that you particularly are great at, you'll still meet loads of people. Societies are also really popular. I joined the Marketing Society. People join their course societies all the time. It's not a geeky thing. I think in school, like, to join like a subject club is really geeky, but it's just a way to meet more course friends and enhance your learning, and at the end of the day, you are there to get the degree. The way Liverpool works is you do 4 modules per semester, and then you have exams in January and then another 4 modules and then another set of exams in May and June. So in my first year I didn't really get to pick any of my modules, they were all compulsory, and then in second year I got to pick 1 optional module per semester, and then in third year I have picked 2 optional modules per semester. But this is just course specific and it will change from department to department, so I can obviously only speak for marketing here. Different schools will do it differently. Liverpool has lots of facilities. There's 2 libraries, there's the Harold Cohen and the Sydney Jones. The Harold Cohen is on North Campus and the Sydney Jones is on South Campus. Campus is split into North and South. North is kind of where medicine and dentistry and all the STEM subjects are, and their library is the Harold Cohen, which is where all their books are. I obviously don't spend much time up there because the clever people are based up there and that ain't me. I am on South Campus. This is where arts and humanities and law is based. We have the Sydney Jones, the superior library, if I do say so myself, and this is where all of our resources are. I will say though that the libraries are always busy and you definitely won't get a seat if you get there much after 9 AM, so good luck. But there is also the Learning Hub and the Guild where you can sit in the courtyard, and each different department should have designated study spaces, and in exam season the uni do this like library on tour scheme, which basically just opens up more rooms in the Victoria building and the Guild, so you just have plenty of spaces to study when you absolutely need to. On campus is the Guild, which I've mentioned quite a bit. I feel like I need to add that the Guild is our students' union. I don't know why we don't call it an SU like other universities. We seem to call it the Guild. I'm not entirely sure why. In here we have the Sphinx, which is the campus pub. This is where you can get really cheap drinks and food. And then we also have the courtyard next to that, which sells the best burritos. I'm quite sad that I only tried my first one in second year. I found out too late, but the best food you'll ever taste. There's also a shop and a Starbucks, so you can get your caffeine fix at any time of day. There's also events put on in Mountford Hall, such as Bongo's Bingo, which is one of my favourite nights ever. I really recommend going to one, especially if you live on campus. And then also they open that up in first year to have freshers events and concerts too. The one thing I would say is we don't actually have a campus club. I think there used to be one way before I was there, but it's not open anymore and there's no signs of it anymore. But I don't really know why we don't have one. Maybe it wasn't successful because there's so many other clubs in Liverpool city centre, but I don't know, in Liverpool maybe you're missing a bit of a trick there. I think it would be good for freshers, but we don't have one sadly, but I don't really think that we need it because there's so many other options. so maybe it just wasn't that popular, I don't know. There's also a gym which has a bouldering wall, a fitness suite, the swimming pool. It's well equipped. The best time to get the gym membership for here is in Freshers Week because they always have discounts. I think that the gym is quite pricey, but it is worth the money because you do have access to everything and all the lessons, and I think you get free AU membership if you've got a gym membership. There's also a careers office which is really good if you're looking to do a placement year, or just in third year if you're looking for jobs, which is me right now. The people there have so much advice and they just want to help you, so if you need like help with your CV or just interview tips, they're the people to go to. There's also like skills enhancement sessions that you can go to, so I went to like a digital marketing skills with Facebook event. Really useful, something really good to put on your CV, so I definitely recommend utilising that service. I feel like nightlife is a really important topic for any potential students. Liverpool honestly has some of the best nightlife in the UK. It is such a good night out and it's so cheap. The main place is Concert Square. This is a good starting point for any night out because you're really near Fleet Street and Seal Street, which is where all the clubs are. Also on Concert Square itself there's loads of clubs and most of these are free, which is great. It's only a 10-minute walk away from campus, so if you're on campus accommodation in first year, you're the real winners. But there's also buses from Greenbank which run all night. I actually think the 86 is 24 hours, which is really good, and taxis in Liverpool are so cheap. Like from my house to town, which is about 10 minutes, I think it's about £8, so split that between however many of you there are, it's really cheap. Another place to go is the Baltic Triangle. This is where ticketed events like Soul Jam, house music, and the Baltic Weekender is a big one there. It's about a 10-minute taxi ride from anywhere. Again, taxis are really cheap, so it's really easy to get to. There's a lot of unique bars around, like the Peaky Blinders bar, there's the Submarine bar, and there's Ghetto Golf. So no matter what your kind of vibe is, it's definitely worth a visit to the Baltic Triangle. I will say though that if you aren't a massive party animal, that isn't an issue. Yes, there is a big drinking culture in Liverpool, but that doesn't mean that you have to drink. You don't need to like give in to peer pressure, and if drinking is not your thing, there are still so many other things that you can do and enjoy in the city. Finally, I'm going to touch quickly on study abroad opportunities. Liverpool have so many connections with universities across the globe, from like America to Australia to Japan to Europe. They have a partner university in China called XJTLU where you can go for either a semester or the year. There's also some really good summer programs that you can go on. Something really good about Liverpool is that you can go abroad for just a semester. This is really unique and I don't think lots of universities offer this. When I signed up to do my study abroad, I was about 2 months into university and I really wanted to do it, but the idea of going for a year was actually really daunting. I went to university just across the water from New York City and I can hand on heart say that it was one of the best experiences I've ever had. I met some really incredible people and learned so much about myself, and it was just such a good experience and something that I recommend anyone to do. So I would 100% consider looking into study abroad opportunities and seeing if anything takes your fancy. If you want to live away or experience a different culture for a while, it really is the best thing to do. I'd be really keen to make a whole other video about my study abroad experience and like my top tips and answer any questions that you might have. So if that's something you'd want to see, please leave a thumbs up and a comment down below and I will get onto that if that's something that you'd like me to do. I think that is everything that I want to talk about in this video. I hope you enjoyed it and you found it somewhat useful. I feel like this is a really long video, so thank you so much if you're still watching. It really means a lot. Please leave a little thumbs up if you enjoyed this video and please subscribe down below. It means so much to me. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you again very soon. Bye bye!